Welcome to the Enlightened Voice. Stay high, my friend.
Well, welcome to another segment of the Enlightened Voice. I'm your host, Christopher Bright. Today is a little different because I got a couple of videos to make, and this is going to be like the first in a series of videos, and I'm probably going to post this video first. This is going to be about my cannabinoid, terpene, cannabis lingo, growing things that you necessarily, I will say, won't know what they technically are, or what they do, or how they affect you for all this part. Like different terminology that you hear, like the entourage effect, F1 hybrids, B1X hybrids, like things like that. So we're also gonna, like I said, we're gonna talk about the terpenes, the cannabinoids, the different things, the different terminology of the weed. Now, I did this video before, but I'm getting better with my editing. So, since that is the case, and we're getting better with the editing, I'm gonna spice in some information on the screen and everything when I can. I don't know what direction it's gonna be, so I could point this way and it might not be there. I'm gonna try to pan it out and everything. For the most part, yes. So let's get to it. Let's start with our cannabinoids. Your most important cannabinoids are gonna be, not your most important, I don't even want to say that. I'm gonna say your most abundant cannabinoids are gonna be your THC, are gonna be your CBDs, your CBNs, and your CBGs, things like that. Those are your most abundant cannabinoids. Now, you do have other cannabinoids like THCV. You do have, I think, CBGV or A, if I'm not mistaken, but I think that's the same thing. So don't quote me on those parts. But for the most part, those are going to be your main cannabinoids. Of course, I'll splice into the video right now. There should be some information on your screen showing you what THC does. The kind of breakdown, like I said, like I said in my other video. Of course, you've never seen that, so I don't know what I'm talking about with that. But what you guys mostly see is the abbreviated versions of the scientific name. So I'm not gonna sit here and try and embarrass myself to be like the tetracannabinoidal. I'm not about to do it. I'm not that. It's not up there. So I'm gonna say the most likely the abbreviated versions of these things. So like I said, THC. THC is your psychoactive effect. It is the most sought after cannabinoid for most cannabis users, unless you're trying to pinpoint some crazy pain, or you're trying to use cannabis as a sleeping aid without getting this terpenal effects. Then 9 times out of 10, THC matters somewhat to you, whether it's super high, whether it's middle range, or whether it's low range. You're still kind of looking for it. You're not just about to get something without it. So, with that being the case, of course, THC is your main, I would say, your main sought after cannabinoid. Then you have the next most popular cannabinoid, which is CBD, which is the exact opposite of what THC does. So THC kind of bonds to the receptors in your brain. So this is what gives you the high feeling when THC binds to those receptors perfectly. What CBD does is it blocks that binding receptor. So when THC and CBD are working together, this is why you'll get waves of euphoria. Instead of like when you smoke straight THC, you just kind of go straight up. As long as you're smoking and you know it's getting into the brain, you're going up and up and up and up. But with CBD, it kind of like cuts it off, and then you kind of like get some more, and it'll cut it off. Kind of get some more and cuts it. And you don't never necessarily. You're not gonna, unless you're continuously smoking, it's not gonna like keep going up levels, up level, up levels. It just kind of like stops it, and you'll kind of boom, and then it'll like let more come in type situation. And that's how the CBD works. It also blocks the pain receptors, things like that. This is why, as humans, we don't exactly understand how CBD works exactly. So this is why, especially in conjunction with THC. So this is why we do enough tests, because you'll have certain products that have 25 milligrams of CBD, and in my experience as a bud tender, that does nothing for people with major pain, like people who got to take oxycodone, people who have to take like 800 milligram like ibuprofen, extra strength Tylenol, things like 25 milligram doesn't do enough. So then you have other products at 500 milligrams of CBD, which kind of works, but it doesn't always instantly take away the pain. It kind of like subsides it, but you know it's still there. So us as humans got to understand how these things work. So that's why, I mean, it's like this is why one your local gas station can sell you some CBD because it's like, oh well, it's not regulated too much just yet. We know it's safe, but we don't know how much you need to start getting your medical benefits. At least not as much as we would like to. Um, your next cannabinoid that I personally like is your CBN. CBN is more of I want to say a sedative type of cannabinoid. I'm trying to think. It helps more when you're looking for your terpenes like myrcene, when you're looking for your terpenes, and we'll get into more of these, but when you're looking for like limonene, beta carpholine, things that are more sedative, more relaxing type things, that's CBN helps with that as a cannabinoid besides THC. So it's more of a sedating thing. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's through oxidizing that THC becomes CBN. There's also another cannabinoid, THCV, that does that. I'll get into that a little bit later. Um, so yeah, so if you see CBN, I'm sorry, not CBD, CBN in your weed, just know it's gonna have like that extra of sedation on top of whatever this weed that you have are smoking. Like I said, I'm gonna put something on the screen to show you all this information, just so you know I'm not like just trying to feed you guys lots. My next one was THCV. THCV I like only because it comes from, of course, THC, but only through aged weed, and it is kind of the same along the same lines of the CBN, that sedative kind of extra effect THCV. So generally, if you store weed incorrectly, if you let it just sit out in the sun or whatever the situation, and it mixes with the air and all that, then your THC will become THCV, which is less psychoactive. It still has some properties of psychoactive. Like if you take it kind of, if I'm not mistaken, it works like it works kind of like THC, but if you smoke THCV in low doses, it kind of acts like CBD, but in high doses, it acts as THC. So to open the receptors, and instead of like if you take it in low doses, like CBD, which will like kind of shut those down. Wait. Okay, so that's enough for your major cannabinoids. There's also CBG. I had some information. Let me look at it really quickly so I can say. So, CBG. So CBG is generally and see, even I gotta learn because I forget things. CBG is like the cannabinoid that makes THC, like THC and CBD. Most of the other cannabinoids come from CBG, so that's like the main point, and all that. I'll also show you like different types of properties from the different cannabinoids, like for all intents and purposes, of course, we know like anorexia, THC would help you because it kind of entices you to eat, things like that. Some different cannabinoids and terpenes as well are anti-inflammatory. So when you got like this is why it helps with pain, with like joint pain and things like that, because if your nerves are like inflamed, so when it goes down, this is why you take like if I'm not mistaken, aspirin, because that's ibuprofen is ibuprofen one? Don't quote me on that one. But like aspirin and ibuprofen, if I'm not mistaken, are anti-inflammatory, and it'll like make the thing go down. This is why the pain goes away, as well as blocking those receptors as well. Terpenes. So, my as you guys know if you watch my videos, the main terpenes that you have is myrcene, at least for me anyway, beta carpholine, limonene, and linalool, and those are all sedative I'm trying to think of a better word besides sedative, but I got I got caught in my throat. Sedative, relaxing type of terpenes, and that's what I look for in my weed personally. Like, you also have alpha pinene, beta pinene, a couple of different other ones. I'll show you guys a list of all the major ones, plus some other ones that I've been seeing lately that I need to do a little research into myself. Like I've seen a French one, I've seen the EUDOSEOL or something of that nature. Like it's been a couple of them that I have not heard of that I've been seeing on my packs of weed. So of course, some more information, but look, one of the major ones you're gonna see is myrcene, and if anything is high in myrcene, that's gonna have like a sedating effect, a very relaxing effect. This is a very sought after one because most people who still use indica and sativa will still say they are indica smokers, which means they like the couch lock, they want to relax, they want their body relaxed, they want the mind to shut down, they don't want to be racing, like so myrcene, linalool, limonene, and beta carpholine are all very relaxing, sedating things. Myrcene being the most popular and, if I'm not mistaken, the most sedative terpene. Um, then you have, I'm trying to think of, do I have any other? It's not too much that you can say in the terpenes besides researching them yourself. I don't, I like I said, I'll put a list, I'll put a couple of some information in well, on the screen for you so you can see exactly what they do. And that brings me to the entourage effect. I should have been smoking a blunt while I do this, but I didn't feel like I would be like very focused, and I gotta do a strain review. So, um, oh yeah. So the entourage effect. The entourage effect is what happens. So this is my theory. Now, do not quote me on this. I've said this a bunch of times, but this is my theory behind the thing. If you, since when you take a vape and you hit the vape, what naturally happens is you do get high, but it is not like a flower high. You understand that the high is different. You just feel high, but it's not. It doesn't feel like anything. You just know you're like blitzed or blazed or how, depending on how hard you hit it and type shit. And that I feel like is because when you make most vapes, there's a CO2 version that kind of keeps the terpenes, but most of it is distillate, and you have to burn off all the terpenes and reintroduce them into the oil. And since humans don't understand how terpenes work, this is why it only works kind of in flower for the most part. But the entourage effect is terpenes and THC working together. So when you take a hit of the vape, you know you're high. But when you take a hit of the flower and you keep doing it and you get high, it's a different type of high. You don't just feel like you don't get that same type of high when you smoke flower when you smoke vape. The same thing goes with dab because you're not necessarily like burning the terpenes off. You still get that effectal high, and this is what they call the entourage effect. This is why you look for your myrcene, your linalool, because of course the THC is the engine of. This is what I like to explain. So the THC is the engine of the weed. Like you can have a V8, you can have a V6, and start that motherfucker. But the thing about it is, if your wheels are bad, if your transmission is bad, if you have I don't know cars. I don't know why I tried to use this analogy. I'm just showing my ignorance. But like, if your shocks are bad, then you don't get that smooth drive. So you got the strongest engine, you got a nice engine, but you can't drive it well. It is not at the best that it could be, and that's how I feel about terpenes. So that is the entourage effect in a nutshell. It is the THC along with the terpene effect working inside your brain to give you a certain feeling. This is why I like to say to get away from the relaxing strain. Two of my favorite strains are Lemon Grenades and Cinderella 99. And they kind of do close to the same thing, but a little bit different. Cinderella 99 kind of focuses you, kind of brings you. They both bring you up, but Cinderella 99 focuses you a little more, while Lemon Grenades kind of gives you the fun, hazy, but still energetic vibe type thing. So when I get these different types of weed, I'm looking for the different types of terpenal effects, as long as the THC. So THC is very, very important. I don't want you to don't think that is, but you definitely have. This is why you have like jokes about like the new age of smokers saying I only smoke high terpenal THC indica dominant weed, because we're getting the more information now, and we can get picky about what we want to smoke. Usually when we get off the street, it was like, hey, as long as this shit getting me high, I'm good. But now it's like, I'm trying to go to sleep, bro. I'm not trying to smoke something that's gonna have me up, thinking I got insomnia for 6 hours. Like, nah. So, I'm gonna call it there. I'm really appreciate you guys for watching the video to the end. Like, comment, and subscribe. Watch a couple of other videos if you like to. Um, gonna try to make more informational videos, especially without smoking, so I can be like a little sober for you guys. Sometimes, most of the time, will be high though. But again, let me know if you have any more questions. If I know I speak a little fast, so if you need to run the video back a couple times to understand some things, I do apologize. I'll try to slow down in the future. Just noticing that shit. But yeah, this has been another episode of the Enlightened Voice. I definitely hope you learned something about the terpenes, the cannabinoids, entourage effect. What I didn't talk about, I'll talk about in another video. Just to throw it out there, the BX, the F1 fusion is just like a cut from a mother plant. The BX is like a back cross from you, so you cut that clone, and then you cross it back with the mother plant that it came from, and that's how you get back crosses and things like that. I'll throw that information out there too for you guys. Well, definitely. But whoever watches these to the end, I really fucks with you. I don't know if anybody actually watches them to the end, but most definitely. Stay high, my friend.